Hello and welcome at the Wawazen Waterfall School. Today I want to show you what you should avoid when you do an indoor waterfall installation. And it means that you avoid closing your indoor waterfall parts before you have made your leak testing. We have this situation right today at the moment. One of my subcontractors, he has installed an indoor waterfall. I've showed you the pictures a few days ago. The first water finally ran on the glass plates and it was a great wow effect. But turned out that the connections between those bottom tanks of the indoor waterfall, they were not really perfectly sealed and they leaked a little bit. These are PVC tank connections, and this could have been avoided, or let's say it in another way. Now we have a hard time accessing this area because, as you can see here, the glass plate and the bottom tanks are surrounded by other elements. Here on the one side we have a shelf, on that side is the bar, and here on the other side where the restaurant is, there are these wooden separates where the customers then sit, and it's pretty hard to access here the connection between those tanks. And this is because of one reason, and the reason is that when we did the installation, first you put the bottom tanks or the overflow channels, and then comes the big moment, you put in the glass and then you fill the system, but there was no water at that time, so we had to go again on that site. In the meantime, other craftsmen continued their work and they have closed several areas, which now makes it hard to access those areas. So the problem actually is here that there was no water the moment the installation was finished. So we had to leave the site and make a new appointment. And so it means that if you have an indoor waterfall installation, you have to make sure that the things you need for your indoor waterfall are prepared and ready when you go to site. And that means, number one, you need to have a water supply, and number two is of course you need a drain, and of course you need electricity. Electricity is not a big deal because you can use a cable, but if you don't have a water supply and if you don't have a drain, you cannot start your first test run. So it's really critical that before you make an appointment with your customer at the site, that you make sure that these things are prepared as you did in the installation planning phase, which means you plan your installation, you tell the customer what kind of supplies and connections, supports, elements need to be prepared or need to be finished. Because sometimes you go to a site and another craftsman hasn't finished his work, so you can't do your work because he hasn't finished his work. So this is something, if you are in the project business, in the construction business, this will happen all the time and it will cause problems and frustration. So you need to avoid that in advance by really telling your customer what you need to start your installation and also what you need to complete your installation. And here in this special case, we had also some delays because of the glass supplier. 2 times, as far as Mr. Phil Graber told me, 2 times the glass broke, which means that the appointment for the glass slab installation had to be postponed like 2 times. And that's actually pretty frustrating also for everybody, because other works cannot be continued before the glass plates are in. So that's also something you need to consider when you do glass indoor waterfalls, especially with big slabs like in this example. You need to plan a buffer and be aware that glass can break. Actually, in this case, it broke 2 times, and it didn't break because of us handling it. It broke before it even was delivered at the glass supplier's place. So these things really, if they're well planned and well communicated, then you will have a good, easy installation. You go there, you set up your parts, the parts are there, ready to be installed, and you can do it within 1 or 2 days. But like in this example, if the parts or the elements are not there, it will take weeks until you can finish, and you have to go to the site multiple times. And this is something, which is not so nice, and you can avoid that by a good planning and a good communication in advance. So I hope this helps you to avoid these problems when you have a glass indoor waterfall project. Please contact me if you have something like that. I would be glad to support you also with the pre-planning of the installation. So you might think now, okay, but if you're such a good planner, why was this one such a mess? Frankly, I did not do the pre-planning myself. Actually, it was like I thought that my subcontractor who does this installation talked with my customer and that they will communicate with each other, but they did not, and we learned out of that. So it means that next time when this subcontractor and every other subcontractor and other customer I have, we will also do this pre-planning of the installation, which is especially then important if you don't have a project manager or an architect at the site. And that's actually the problem here. Many of these works are planned by the customer himself. He does not have an architect or a project manager, which then causes, I would say, sometimes these lacks of necessary communication. Okay, thank you. I hope you have a nice weekend. Please subscribe to my channel. And by the way, on the 3rd of June, we have a internal meeting with our business partners, and we will have 2 guests, very, very interesting guests. One of them has built a 7 times 5 meter high indoor waterfall around the corner. He will share his insight with us. And if you want to start the indoor waterfall business, now it's the right time. Please contact me, because then you can also join us at our business partners meetup and learn how other projects go, and how to do such things, such big